Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast, Our New Narrative. And today I want to talk to you about something near and dear to my heart, and that's my hometown of Detroit, capitalism and socialism. But before we get started, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know next time I get on here and say something, right? Share this content with a friend, enemy, social justice warrior near you. Strike up a conversation. Leave the violence alone. I think people need to conversate. And with that said, we're going to dive into this. So, share my screen right quick. So I was thinking about this the other day. Highland Park, Michigan. If you guys don't know, I'll give you a real brief history lesson on Highland Park, Michigan. It's the home of Henry Ford's first auto factory, assembly line, and that factory brought all type of labor up to Michigan, and that labor was centered around Highland Park. And Highland Park, Michigan is inside of Detroit, Michigan. It's one of those rare places where Detroit is one of the rare places where you have two municipalities within one municipality. Highland Park, Michigan, Hamtramck, Michigan are both inside of Detroit, Michigan. So a little trivia there for you. Now, when Henry Ford first kicked off his factory, I mean, that was capitalism, man. Capitalism made that happen. It wasn't socialism. It wasn't racism. It was capitalism. It was a man with an idea, and he got people to back that idea with money. And then he got other people to back that idea with labor. And those who backed that idea with labor, a lot of them came up from the South. That's how I got to Detroit, because my parents, one of my parents was from the South and the other one was already here. So with that said, like a lot of people from around the world, they came to support this man's idea and get paid for their support. And at one point in history, Highland Park was the most affluent city, not in Michigan, not in the United States, in the world, right? Today, you don't want to go there. I cannot stress that enough. Highland Park is bombed out and depleted, and it's been bombed out and depleted for a long time. In the 80s, when I was growing up, and I grew up not too far from here, I mean, basically right around here is where I grew up after we escaped the projects, basically. This is Highland Park. And I went on Zillow to see how much we can buy a house for in Highland Park. And so if you got $22,000, you can buy this house. Remember, this was one of the most affluent cities on the planet. If you got $10,000, you can buy this house. This Highland Park is home to, $189 grand for this house. And it looks like, yeah, they remodeled it. They did what they could with it, you know. That's 189 grand. And a lot of people who, 94 for this one, but 19 for this one, 34 for this one, 54 for that one, 5. Hey, you got $5 grand in your pocket? You can get this one. Now, a lot of people blame white flight on what happened to Detroit and Highland Park and Hamtramck, but I'm here to tell you, I grew up during this so-called white flight. It wasn't white flight. It was green flight. If you had green, you flew. So if you were white, you left. If you were black, you left. If you were Jewish, you left. If you were Asian, you left. There wasn't too many Asians when I was growing up in Detroit, around me and anyway. But if you had the money, you left. And those who got left had to deal with what you see on your screen. So it wasn't racism that drove white people out of Detroit. White people weren't like, I can't stand this racism, I'm leaving. right? No, it was socialism that drove out the capitalists. And with that, they took the labor that paid the property taxes, that paid for the schools, that paid for the cops, that paid for the fire department, right? They took all that money and they started going into the suburbs where businesses could flourish because they didn't have these socialist Marxist policies running, you know, infiltrating the governments of the suburban areas, right? Now, what the media did was represented capitalism with whiteness, which they're trying to do today. Like being on time is white. Yeah, math now is white. Being polite is white. You guys look this up. I ain't lying. So basically, socialism, my point is socialism calls what you see on your screen, not racism. And why is this important today? Because I've left Detroit, man, a long time ago. And now I'm living in California. And I don't live too far away from Mountain View. And why is Mountain View important? Well, Mountain View is home to Google. And across the river, you get Newark and Fremont, that's home to Tesla. And then you go to Menlo Park, and that's home to Facebook. They are basically modern day Ford Motors, right? It attracts all type of wealth, all type of human capital, all type of people with ideas to attach to that, you know, Google's idea. And those ideas make money. And the people who support those ideas through labor, they get paid. And their paychecks allow them to buy stuff like this, a $3 million house. That's basically cookie cutter, right? Another $3 million house is pretty big, but still it's made, you know, it ain't made of brick, and that's, you know, we got earthquakes out here, I get that. But the architecture is, yeah, it's okay. There's no, you know, handcraft wood, you know, stair rails and, you know, what we have in Detroit is a whole bunch of stained glass windows in just normal houses. Here, 2.7 million, get you a $2.5 million house, 4 million, 3.1 million, 2.7 million, right? 2.9 million. Now the weather's great compared to Highland Park. But you know, the reason why this is 2.9 million is because the market can afford it. Somebody is going to buy that for 2.9 million, right? Why? Because capitalists came in with this idea, somebody supported that idea, and money along with labor supported that idea so that the market around it can produce a house like this for $2.9 million, right? You following me on this? If you hear this long, please like, share, subscribe, and share this with a social justice warrior near you. Tell them to put down that peaceful brick and read a book, right? I think we made the point here. Well, I'm not finished making my point. So actually, what I saw growing up in Detroit, as I look back on Detroit as an adult, I'm seeing the same thing now in California. You got these socialist Marxists infiltrating the government, and they're basically forcing capitalists out. People are leaving California in droves, just like they did in Detroit in the 80s, right? And what's going to happen to this $3.1 million house? Forget the pandemic, right? When you get all your businesses leaving, they take the tax base. That means your services dwindle. Crime goes up. Eventually, this is what happens. And you can't blame that on racism. It's socialism. And the reason we don't really know what socialism is because they stopped teaching what socialism was in the 60s. And when did Detroit start to take its deep dive? Around the 60s. Because Highland Park was voted one of the most affluent, I forgot where I found it, but affluent cities on the planet, right? And why? Because they had stuff like this. Now, this is down the street, not too far from Highland Park. And this is inside of Detroit in a place called Palmer Woods. This is in Detroit. This is not a suburb of Detroit. This is inside of the Detroit city limits, where you have mansions, the Fisher Mansion, the Bishop's Mansion, 35,000 square foot residence. The servants' quarters bigger than my house, right? This is inside of Detroit. This is what capitalism, what just happened? Yeah, I ain't trying to go there. This is what capitalism gets you. And these aren't, oh, it's all white people living here. No, I know the guy who lived here. I went to elementary school with him. He was black. I got a friend I went to high school. Oh, Mr. Fox, if you're out there, he lived down the street from this guy. He was black. I got a girl I went to high school with. She lived in the same neighborhood, Palmer Wood. They're black. This is what capitalism gets you. Now, does everybody have a house like this? No. There's nowhere, this, equality of income is obscene. It's just dumb, right? So, of course, not everybody's going to live in a mansion. You got to wait to get to heaven to get that, right? But this is what capitalism gets you. This is what socialism gets you. I think I made my point. So before you go out there marching in the streets talking about Black Lives Matter, which is a Marxist organization, just go to their website and look at it. They're trying to destroy the family structure and bring this to a neighborhood near you. Now, do they actually know this? Most of them don't, but somebody does. Somebody in that organization does know that policies that were implemented in Detroit starting in the 60s or into the 50s, basically when the Democrats took over, this is what you get. Do you want this? I don't think you want this. I don't think you want this. I don't want this. And I can't go any further west. I'll be in the ocean, right? I can't move anymore. I have to move to another country, right? I'm tired of moving. I've been moving away from socialists all my life. Now, the socialists has caught up with me. I'm at the edge of I'm on the beach trying to, fight them back. Y'all got to fight them back with me. And how can you do that? Like, share, subscribe to this information. Leave some comments in the section below. I write about this in my book, Our Two Societies. And I know that in this environment, Our Two Societies, you automatically think black, white, but it's not about black, white. It's about individuals and individualism and collectivism, basically. Check it out. It's won 2 awards. Definitely worth your time reading, all 5 stars so far. Check it out. And with that said, I'm going to let you go. Have a great day. Again, like, share, subscribe this content. Give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And I'm out. Thanks for stopping by.